Ken ration, says fate. When I first saw you, the world became slower. Not in that tired way of fading clocks or the dragging hours of ceremony. Just fate, but in the sweet unraveling of a moment that begged to be longer, as though time itself paused and held its breath. And I, Jen Rations' fate, caught between duty and daylight, stood still in the hush of your presence. You were not dressed in gold, nor crowned in light, Sister February, but something gentler marked you, a calm that silenced the restless voices in my mind. In you there was no thunder, no fanfare. Juvenation cessed fate adjusted the querity of someone who had known both loss and wonder-cased fate. And I who had walked through halls heavy with names engraved in marble echoing with the weight of histories not mine. Rayan's cessed fate felt for the first time something wholly mine. A glance, a smile, the brushing closeness of your voice. Julian Rian's cist fatey, as if you knew the shape of my loneliness before I had spoken its name aloud. You did not kneel as others do. You did not offer practice phrases or compliments carved from ice, says fatey. You simply looked at me, truly looked as though behind every title, every poised expression. Saw a girl who once climbed trees in Tavon woods. Ration's fate, who once pressed her ear to books hoping to hear the heartbeat of ancient queens. Who once whispered to the fate, who once put the stars from a palace balcony as though they were her sisters. And in that case, I was not princess, not here, not symbol, or school-bound the name. I was only Elisabeth Jackroy's son, Mo the girl, who longed to run barefoot through the corridors of herself without someone naming Ishep duty. I remember your hands, fate. Not because they touched me. Not then, but because they remained still when others reached. You held them at your sides. John knew fate like someone who knew the power of restraint. And I wondered then what they might write. What letters they had held. See it, fate. What small wounds they had healed without a word. And your voice, clear but never loud, carried something of wind over water. GNA rationist fate. A sound both near and far, like a melody from childhood remembered only in fragments, just enough to make the heart ache. We spoke. But even before the words, there was the conversation between silences, Comicean cist fate, that older language lovers know before they admit they are in love. The language of glances that linger too long, of shared breasts when reaching for the same book, of dish laugh that slips out too soon because the soul recognizes home before the mind does. Fate, I had heard stories of great romances. Alina and Louis, tragic too cold. Victoria and Albert, royal but walled estate. But I never believed in their kinder love. I believed in silences, in soft revolutions of the heart, faint in quiet arrivals that changed everything. You were that, the gentle storm that did not tear down, rationist fate, but rebuilt the scaffolding of my heart until it resembled something open. I wore my crown that night, not of jewels, but of questions. And still you bowed only to my silence, not to my lineage, not to the bloodlines braided back through centuries, but to the quiet girl beneath the dade, the one no one ever asked about. And I asked nothing of you, rayest fate, because everything I wanted was already in your being. The way you listened not just to me but to the air between us consist fate. The way your presence softened the sharp lines of the world until even the corners of my fear became curves. My heart SRAFES, trained in discretion, stepped cautiously. It did not leap like the poets say, but wandered towards you as if drawn by scent, fitted by instinct, by the tender curiosity that blooms when something feels possible. We sat together and the space between us was full, not with noise, but with the hum of understanding. It felt like a chapel, not of stone, but of breath and waiting, as though if I spoke too loudly, I might shatter the spell. You said something. I don't recall the words, only how they made me feel that the world could be soft again, says fate. That I could be more than prepared, more than poised, that perhaps I could be known. And I wanted to know you, Rayanist fate. Not in the public way, not in handshakes or press releases, but in the way of stolen mornings and ink-stained letters. Jan way of Shernist fate. In the way of shared secrets beneath blankets when the world forgets your name. Do you remember the first time we laughed? Vivi truly laughed. I do. It was over something foolish. A broken pastry, I think, crumbled before it reached your plate. Ratian ceased fate, and you made a face so absurd and so unguarded. I let go. The kind of laughter that breaks composure, and with it assist fate bid something truer. And in that moment, I did not think of the future. I did not measure consequence. Ratian ceased fate. I only felt how easily joy found us. How it had waited behind the curtain, peeking out shyly until you drew it forward. I would not say I fell in love. That sounds too sudden, too passive. I walked into love slowly, reverently, as one enters a cathedral not built of stone, but of glances, touches not yet made, and the steady unfolding of self. You held no maps, but still you found the country of my heart, its guarded borders, its strange dialects, its ruins and temples and uncharted forests. And I who had been so carefully trained to lead, to speak, to command, found the fate for once that I could follow.
You did not ask me to.
You simply walked beside me, and the path unfolded.